Hey there, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to Strategy in Small Doses. Today, I really want to talk about collaborative joint offers when you are working with somebody, whether that's a strategic partner or not, and how this adds value to all the parties involved. Okay, so what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is when I'm going to use myself as an example, right? So, as a coach, 90% of the time when clients come to me, and we're putting together a strategy in place, most of the time that strategy is going to require them to work with somebody else, whether that's a marketing strategist, a copywriter, legal, whether they're going to need a client agreement, something of that sort, right? And so whether it's graphic design, branding, whatever. So what I have done and what I really want to encourage you to do is to find those people that you really, really enjoy working with and figure out how you guys can work together and include each other's services inside of your offers, right? Because the client's already invested with you. They know, like, trust you. And by adding in this additional value to them, like, oh, by the way, when you work with me, you not only get access to me, but you also have access to a copywriter, or you have access to a graphic designer, etc. And it's included in the cost of us working together. Now, there's a couple things here involved, right? Obviously, but let's talk about, yeah, but Michelle, that's going to cost me money. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to pay them on their behalf? Right. But you bundle it in, right? You make sure that the cost of your service is enough to where you can then outsource and include that into the cost, to hire them. But the other thing is I'm not saying that you're going to hire them or you're going to bring them in on the long term on one of their biggest packages. What I'm talking about is usually it's like a one-off type project base, whether it's a 1-hour strategy session with a marketing, or maybe it's one template from a legal shop, or maybe it's 10 or 12 graphics to get them going, something of that sort. A review of like a landing page, like a copywriting review, like an audit. Okay. So these are like what I would consider like a low ticket offer to this outsourced partner. But you have to remember, like, and it might be a discounted rate from them, but you have to remember, if you're on the receiving end of that, you've done nothing to gain this client. You have spent no money on marketing. You've spent no time on client acquisition. You've done nothing. Like, your out-of-pocket cost to acquire this client is zero. You have somebody, this coach, that is feeding you a client. Okay. So yes, you're making a little bit of money to cover the cost of your time for what the task that they're asking. However, you need to look at it from a different perspective. Think about the fact that now you have somebody that you never would have met before in your circle, right? There's opportunity to convert them to further work. So let's say you do an audit on a landing page, and then next thing you know, they need another landing page. They may come to you for another audit. They may come to you for a full write, the writing of the landing page, whatever. But also, you have another person that now knows who you are, that knows the quality of your work, and will refer other people to you, right? So yes, the upfront initial, dollar exchange, time for dollar, whatever exchange might not be what you're normally charging. But again, you've not done the normal things to acquire this client, right? Like, you haven't spent any time on marketing. You haven't been on any coffee chat, right? Like, this person is literally being hand fed to you. And now you have an opportunity to convert them into a longer term client. And you also have the opportunity to be referred by them because you've nailed it, right? This is such a huge value add because they've paid nothing to work with you. But so that's a huge value add from my perspective. Like, let's say as a coach, like, it's a huge value add for me to be able to say to a client, hey, listen, I'm going to make sure you get that template, because in order for us to move forward, I know you're going to need it. So it's covered. You've got it, right? But then when they need another legal template, where do you think they're going to go? Obviously, especially if there's some kind of discounted rate or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a discounted rate. But the goal is to create these partnerships and these collaborative joint offers. Like, think about it. Trust me when I tell you, I didn't add in these joint offers without making sure that the cost of my service could accommodate them, right? It could absorb the cost of what it was going to cost me to outsource. I also have a cap on it. There is a limit on how much I am willing to give out. I have a very specific number of what I am willing to outsource in regards for a client. So you can come up with that, whatever that looks like for you. That number might be, different all around. But again, value add to the client, value add to the person you're referring it to, and value add to you, because the client now thinks, wow, what a great, like, how many other coaches are including a copywriter with it or whatever else, right? Like, it sets you above the competition. So it's a win-win all around. Okay. So here's your key takeaways. One is figure out who would those referral partners be. Like, what is it that your clients constantly need when they come working with you, right? Like, they've invested with you 90% of the time. They need somebody else in order to complete this package. Okay. So figure out who that is. And then think about what exactly is going to be a huge benefit to the client. How can you incorporate that in the cost of your current services? And then how can you make sure that you differentiate yourself and let the client know that it's included, right? And then also find somebody that can do that for you. Like, how can they send business your way? Is this a one-way street or is it a two-way street? You want to always make sure it's a two-way street, but it's not always like, I'm going to send you one person, you're going to send me another. And you need to be thinking about it from the long-term perspective, okay? It's the long-term opportunity to gain this client in the long haul, whether or not think about it. It's another, like I said in multiple different podcast episodes, it's boots on the ground. You now have somebody else that you would have never met that is boots on the ground for you, that knows what you do, that can work with you, that has worked with you, that sees how you work with and understands the value that you bring, and then they can refer other people to you. Okay. So hopefully this isn't too confusing. It's really not that confusing, but I'm feeling like it is. But again, like, the key takeaways are figure out who else your clients need when they hire you. Find those people and see if they're willing to do something of a collaborative joint offer. This is huge inside of the Accelerated Business Alliance. Every single person inside of the Alliance has some level of offer that we can exchange services with. It's a huge value add. And how can you then promote it, right? Like, how can you make sure that you've absorbed the cost somewhere? And how can you promote it to differentiate yourself? Because if they're interviewing two copywriters and one copywriter includes access to a web designer or a graphic designer and one doesn't, and the cost is the same, right? Think about that. There's so much opportunity for client retention, and there's so much opportunity to create massive value around that. So I do it all the time. If anybody works with me, they know they have access to all of my people. I am, like I said, there's a cap to it. It's not like a free-for-all. I'm not sitting here saying I'm giving away all my profits. Absolutely not. I've figured it out. You figure out what you're willing to put out and what you're not, and then find the people that'll work with you on that. Not everybody is. I've had multiple people tell me, no, this is not what I want to do. Like, I would never I could never do a one-off session. I would not do that. It would cost X amount of dollars, and that doesn't work. And that's okay. But there's other people out there that will, and they bring just as much value. So powerful, powerful, powerful way to build your business, to help other people build their business, and just collaboratively all around. It's such a phenomenal collaboration effort. And I highly, highly encourage everybody to try to figure out how you can incorporate into your business. It really is a game changer. All right. So you know the drill. Get into the Facebook group. Let's talk about it. I want to have conversation around this. Who are those collaborative partners? Who are you looking for? Maybe I can make an introduction for you. I'd love to do that. Or again, like I said, inside the Alliance, if you want to apply to be inside of the Accelerated Business Alliance, we do that inside of there as well. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.